Welcome back here with Money, Money, Money. And this week we have a special guest on the show. We have the top boss of BIRLA Sun Life Asset Management Company. Bala is here with us and he's helping us navigate through these very interesting markets. So we've discussed the hybrid funds, but now let's get to the really interesting part, and that's equity, Bala. We've discussed the fact that your reasons why you think that this is probably an okay time for the equity market despite all-time highs. What sort of funds should one get in? Should you be aggressive and look at micro caps and mid caps? Should you stick to safety of large caps?
If you focus only one segment of the market, if you say only large cap is the only one where I'll make an investment, and sometimes you'll always have the feeling of left out, that I've missed the mid cap rally. We generally generate about 4 to 5% outperformance over the large cap. Therefore, one has to apply the principle of having an allocation between all the three asset classes. Say if you allocate about say 30% to a large cap, say 40% to the mid cap, and roughly about 30% should be in the smaller mid cap. And that should be the model one should apply.
What's the kind of, caveat or tip, let's say, would you want to give to investors who want to put fresh money into your mid-cap or small-cap funds? Because the reason I ask this is that, mid-caps have gone up, like anything. And when the corrections happen, they can get fairly vicious as well, as we've seen in the recent past.
Correct.
These days, we keep talking about a lot of leverage companies and, whether they will default on payments or not. And then we see those stocks tank in the day-to-day trading action. So what are the things one needs to keep in mind if you're putting fresh money in a mid-cap or a small-cap fund?
One has to look at what is the underlying the funder's investment philosophy when it comes to the question of investing style. There are different investment style works. At the end of the day, one also look at it. The funder's philosophy of investing in companies fuel on the basis of fundamentals. I think you mentioned about the leveraged companies. They do, of course, get impacted in the market. But from the fundamental point of investing, from the money manager's point of view, they don't pass the test. It's high leverage companies. They don't pass the test, especially in times like today, to be part of the portfolio. And therefore, there's a probability of they getting ignored by the portfolio manager is very, very high.
Okay.
But one thing you have to always keep in mind, that mid-cap funds, if I'm assuming given a return of, say, 50%, 60% last 1 year and 2 years and 3 years, you ought to make an assumption that the following year will be a little worse than the previous year. Okay. Therefore, you have to come with an intention that I'm investing for not 1 year, I'm investing for 3 and 5 years period.
Okay, fair enough. So now let's get down to the most interesting question. If I were to request you to pick out 3 of your favorite funds from the Birla Sun Life universe, the equity funds, for me, which funds would you pick?
Of course, I can talk about my own personal investment we have built in the pecking order. And the small and mid cap, then comes the mid cap, then is the Birla Advantage Fund. And that's Birla Sun Life Equity and Birla Advantage Fund. It's a multi-cap category. Okay. Then comes the Balance 95. So that's the way my pecking order has been picked.
Okay, so Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity would be the lion's share. I'm guessing that's the big large cap fund. Obviously, it's been doing extremely well. We all know that. Tell us more about the equity fund. And sort of why you like that. The equity fund and also the advantage fund. Because more or less, I think the underlying benchmark is BSE 200.
Correct.
So how do you differentiate between the two?
So I think these two are a multi-cap fund. Birla Sun Life Equity is a multi-cap fund. Birla Advantage Fund is a multi-cap fund. But the two portfolio managers. And both the portfolio managers have got two different styles. This one is actually investing on a base of GARP, which is a growth at a reasonable price. So other portfolio manager actually looks at on the basis of the sector rotations. If you think that actually the sectors like banking and IT and say capital goods actually do well, he will go overweight on these sectors and he gets his sector rotations continuously reasonably right. That's the Birla Advantage Fund. And both of them, these two different style, and at the same time the underlying concept of investment remains in multi-cap. He does not have any, both of them do not have any restriction. I need to have so much exposure to large cap and so much exposure to mid cap. And we can actually have more skew towards mid-cap if we think that mid-cap will do much better than the large cap. And that's the style in which I think both of them are doing. That's why we look at the return on a 1 and 3 and 5 year period. There will be, of course, a marginal difference, but they would have outperformed the both Nifty, Sensex, as well as the foreign equity.
I did check on that, and yes, both of these funds, the Advantage Fund as well as the Birla Sun Life Equity Fund, both of them over the last 1 year, 3 year and 5 year periods, they have outperformed their benchmark indices. Final thoughts then, Bala, any message that you'd like to leave our viewers with? Of course, the many of the investors in your funds and others who are looking at making fresh investments now in this market?
Everything is subject to various consideration that fund managers will have and most of the global investors will have. I think the discipline is something which is asset allocation discipline, and second is the continuous way of investing in the market. These are the two disciplines I think will bring in the right outcome for the investors. Therefore, let them actually be a debate, an intellectual discussion, but let them not actually influence your investment decision.
Okay, fair enough. At least go out, start saving, start investing. That's the bottom line, I guess. Thanks, Bala, very much for joining us on the show today. Always a pleasure talking to you. That's it on Money, Money, Money this week. Your feedback, comments, queries are welcome as always. We'll see you again next week.